In the past several weeks, Ricciardo's name has been heavily related to Mercedes. Although this might be a bitter pill to swallow for many F1 fans, imagining Ricciardo suiting up for Mercedes, it won't be such an easy quest for the Aussie to sit in the Brackley-based team's starting spot. On top of that, Lewis Hamilton spoke about his future and the words he had to say, the 7-time world champion, and replacing him from 2024 and beyond. Is Hamilton planning to retire? And who will be his successor? This video has these answers, so don't go anywhere. Daniel Ricciardo has finally decided that enough is enough and gave up on the McLaren deal. More precisely, they gave up on him since they offered him a buyout agreement just to replace him with a younger and a more prospective Aussie that was supposed to sign with Alpine first. Oscar Piastri will be Ricciardo's replacement in McLaren, and it seems like the 8-time race winner will cash in $15 million if he sits out the 2023 season in total. Prior to the summer break and the silly saga unwinding down as it did, everybody thought that Ricciardo will go back to Alpine and continue where they left off, as he finished P5 in 2020 and scored 2 podiums for the team after a long time. Even Zaf Nauer spoke about this, saying that the door for him is always open. However, it seems like the team has opted out for another, younger driver in Gasly. That is, if AlphaTauri lets the Frenchman go, and in order for them to do so, they have to bring De Vries as his replacement. If this deal doesn't go through, Alpine isn't considering Ricciardo for the vacant seat, as they've given multiple drivers a test in Hungaroring that is supposed to happen prior to the Singapore GP. De Vries, Giovinazzi, Hülkenberg, and Duhan are the drivers that Alpine is considering, so Ricciardo can consider that door closed. Apart from that, he was related to teams like Haas and Williams, but the payment is a huge problem. Ricciardo, as we mentioned earlier in this video, is set to bank a huge amount of money from McLaren in buyout terms, and Haas along with Williams have nowhere near that amount of money to pay to a driver. That is why they're considering drivers that are either rookies or looking to make it back on the big scene, like Giovinazzi, Hülkenberg, Sargent, De Vries or Duhan. Nevertheless, let's go back to Ricciardo and his opportunities. The 8-time race winner doesn't have much of a choice when it comes to his future, and although he spoke about it and said that he does see himself in F1 for a couple of more years, it will likely be the reserve spot in another team. Mercedes is more than willing to offer him this seat, as rumors have been started by a renowned F1 journalist, Joe Saward. He said Mercedes are thinking about Ricciardo to cover off the possibility of walking away at the end of next season. Bringing Daniel in their camp means they wouldn't be left high and dry. It would also mean George would be the main man from that point in 2024. According to him, there will be a gap between Hamilton's retirement and the replacement in Kimi Antonelli, who is currently driving in F4, and by the time he arrives in F1, Hamilton will be long gone. However, there is one man that we need to ask in this situation whether this will happen or not, and that is the 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton. Prior to the Monza GP, he spoke about Ricciardo's future and his own plans beyond 2023, as he added, "I think he's far too talented and he's earned the right to be amongst us all racing. If he's part of our team, that'd be great, but a third role is not really what's best for him. If I was managing him, he'd be racing," said Hamilton, who also added that he has never felt better in his 37th year of life and that he plans to extend the deal with Mercedes in the upcoming period. "For me, I feel healthier than I've ever felt. I'm feeling fit, I love what I'm doing, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. My goal is to always be with Mercedes. I signed with them in 1997. I love that we have the long partnership we have. I feel like we're embarking on a lot of really positive things, not only in the sport but outside, and I think there's a lot to accomplish together. I want to be a part of that," finished Hamilton. Some strong words, am I right? It seems like Hamilton isn't willing to let go that easily of his starting point in Mercedes, and it seems like the team isn't either. Wolff spoke about Hamilton's future prior to the summer break, saying that he hopes that Hamilton will race beyond his 40s with Mercedes, although the Briton said that he'd rather do something else rather than race in his 40s. However, Hamilton recently spoke yet again about his future, saying that he wants to die in Mercedes, metaphorically saying that his career will die in the Brackley-based team. What does his teammate George Russell have to say about the matter? After all, this situation would benefit him more, as the number one driver in the team would be cemented for him. Although many believe that Russell will be the second fiddle in 2022, we've seen him performing much better than Hamilton, and it's likely that the momentum has shifted towards the younger Briton. When asked about the Aussie, he said, "I've not heard any reports or heard anything, but I think Daniel's track record speaks for itself really. He's a driver deserving of a seat on the Formula 1 grid, and it would be a real shame for him to not be there next season." But obviously, from our side, having a driver of his caliber joining the team in any capacity would be a real boost. He's a driver I get along with. I just hope he stays on the grid and in the sport, finished Russell. But there is one man that we haven't gone over his opinions, and that is Daniel Ricciardo. During the past couple of weeks, Ricciardo constantly spoke about his future, saying that he doesn't see it anywhere but in F1. Although his options have narrowed down to just a reserve spot as a driver, Ricciardo added that he accepted this narrative, and this is where his head is as of now. As he elaborated, "I've certainly accepted if I'm not to be on the grid next year, I'm okay with that. I've accepted I'm not going to do everything, or my management team's not going to do everything just to put me on the grid if it's not right or it doesn't make sense. Obviously, this year has been challenging, and if I'm on the grid, I want to know it's at a place I can enjoy and feel like I can thrive, an environment I feel I can thrive in. I don't want to just jump into a car for the sake of it." He also spoke about the devastating Monza GP in 2022, the track that he won in 2021, and although he was running in the points in 2022, his car failed in the finishing laps of the race, and he wasn't able to help his team in the battle with Alpine. Days like this certainly are pretty frustrating, but give it 24, 48 hours and I'll get over it and try to understand what's best for next year. Not in an overconfident or a cocky way, but if it's not meant to be, then I'm totally okay with that. I wouldn't be too proud. We haven't certainly given up on getting a seat, but that's kind of where my head's at the moment, finished Ricciardo. But we shouldn't be disappointed at all. After everything that Ricciardo said, he also added that if the opportunity of a long-term winning team was offered to him, he would be more than happy to accept it. This means that if in any case any of the low-rated teams such as Haas and Williams are willing to give him a seat, he'll be more than happy to drive for them. As he added, "I still definitely have the ability to love a project. But of course, if there's this longer project and this one where you're going to win tomorrow, of course I'm going to go for the quick wins. They are things I will definitely give some thought to. I don't also want to be stubborn or short-sighted and be like, no, I'm not interested in that. I will give everything its respective thought." From 2017, every 2 years I've been with a different team. I don't want to just sign something and think, wait, now something else is there for 2024. So it's probably not as simple as just getting somewhere on the grid next year. It can probably go in many different directions, so I don't think it needs an immediate decision. It's going to be about what's best for me. What do you think is next for the Honey Badger? And more importantly, what do you think about Hamilton's statement regarding Ricciardo? Let us know in the comments below.